Chevron Delo is announcing a break with convention, giving you even more reasons to choose Delo. Today we're here to talk about more electric equipment because, by golly, the whole industry is talking about electric equipment. Today we're here to talk to FIRSTGREEN, who has a viable skid steer, an electric skid steer that actually has pretty decent runtime and doesn't require rewiring the whole shop in order to charge it. So here to talk more with us is Marcus from FIRSTGREEN. So I'm just going to hit you with what everyone in the industry instantly thinks when you hear about any sort of electric technology. Why should we be concerned about this? Is this even a viable technology for what we're doing on our dirt sites right now?
Yeah, it's a really fair question. It's a good question. We believe highly in the power and performance of our equipment, but there are situations where we're not the right tool for the job, and diesel machines are better. But there's a lot of jobs where we do a much better work than diesel. We're very rational about how we see the heavy equipment market and how we fit in. And I remind people that battery power has come a really long way. So, ask yourself if you've used a corded drill, to perform a job in the last 30 days. Most people haven't. So those things weren't viable in the past, and they are now. So battery power has come a long, long way, but we make a machine that's absolutely viable in a lot of different ways.
So that being said, to kind of take one of the huge stumbling blocks for a lot of people out of it, what sort of runtime are you guys getting out of a battery? Because that's been a stumbling block for a lot of the technologies we've heard about.
So runtime is a big issue. And that's why we are a great option most of the time. And some of the times we're going to tell you straightforward that this isn't the right machine for this job. So we run from 6 to 9 hours plus with our equipment, just depending on what battery you want. So we do both smart lead acid and lithium batteries. So there's a lot of variability between the two. And then for 24-hour operation, you can hot swap a battery in less than 10 minutes with a pallet jack.
So just so that we're comparing apples to apples, because we've had people on before that have talked about runtime, and then you delve into it a little bit more, and it turns out that's job site time. It's not actual runtime. Are you saying you have roughly 6 hours of actual runtime, or the machine can run about 2.5 hours, but it could sit on the job for 6 hours?
Runtime means operation time. So it means that the machine is moving dirt, lifting loads, doing work for at least 6 hours, if not more.
When you put that in perspective of a skid steer, I would argue the vast majority of job sites out there are not running their skid steer 6 to 8 hours straight between lunch, between getting out of the cab. A lot of these guys are landscapers, all of the stuff that they're doing. There's a lot of time that machine's not actually running. And unlike a diesel machine, it's not sitting there idling using fuel. It's just not running. And so I would almost argue you could get easily a 10 to 12 hour day if you've got 6 straight hours of runtime.
Yeah, we should be getting close to what you're saying there. Besides the fact that with lithium, you can opportunity charge. So if the machine's sitting there, you got 20 minutes, you can plug it in. We don't have any charging infrastructure that needs to be brought to the site. Our chargers are 110 or 220, right? So you can use two 110 outlets on different 20 amp circuits. So you can pretty much charge our skid steers anywhere. Our little mini loader uses a simple 110, but no specialized charging equipment or infrastructure required. And our stuff charges, depending on the battery, between 4 and 5 hours. So
I do like the idea too of having the hot swap option, because up until this point, I don't think there's a single company that we've talked to that has had modularity in mind when it comes to the battery itself. It's kind of like all self-contained in this one unit, and as soon as the unit's dead, you're just down until you charge. So you guys have the ability to remove the battery, plug a new one in, and I'm assuming once you get good at that process, you could get it down well under 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a latch door. It's one pull of a cable and a pallet jack slips in. We have a pallet jack option that lifts that battery right out, slips in, you put the other battery in, get them on charge. It's really quick and simple. We do have operations where they're running 24 hours a day, ports all around the world that they run the machines 24 hours a day.
So my next question, and this is the other big hurdle for most guys, what kind of charge time am I looking at to get a full battery?
Yeah, so you can use fast chargers and do it in under 2 hours, but that takes special infrastructure. So the onboard chargers are about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. So if you go out to lunch, if it's 30, 40 minutes, you can get 15, 20% on a charge for lithium and keep going. And that's with our standard chargers. And then if you're fast charging, obviously it's pretty rapid.
So my next question is kind of going to more of the overall machine itself. So do you guys still have a hydraulic system on the machine? And the reason I ask and where I go with this is, can I use my traditional skid steer attachments with this machine, or am I going to have to go buy all of these specialty electric attachments?
Another good question. So we are fully electric. Everything we run is from a battery, and that includes our hydraulic pump. So you use standard attachments. We've got standard hydraulic fittings. And look, you've got perfectly good attachments sitting around. We don't need you to put those and throw those out. Just pop them on, standard coupler, and away you go. So we've got standard hydraulic attachments. We've also got very high efficiency E attachments that we sell that are proprietary to the machine. Those are a little different. They use our battery power with a motor on the attachment. But again, we use standard hydraulic fittings and you can attach anything.
That is nice to know that I don't have to go refit my whole inventory of attachments to accommodate one machine. I can bring this in and it will kind of settle in with the rest of the line there. My next question kind of moves into the cost of the machine. Obviously, these are newer technologies. They're going to be a little spendier than your traditional diesel-powered units. So, two questions. First of all, I'm assuming, because I've seen the price of diesel at the pump, and I've seen the cost of my energy bill, I'm assuming it is cheaper to fill a machine off of the grid than it is off of your diesel tank sitting in your yard or off of the pump at the gas station. Is that correct in that assumption?
But before we get into that, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Chevron Lubricants. These past few years have been less than easy. We've encountered challenges we never imagined we'd ever have to deal with. From makeshift home offices and video meetings, to global supply chain uncertainty, price instability, market disruptions, and everything in between. Delivering the level of services and products our customers had come to expect was difficult for all of us. We can't change what's behind us, but we can definitely learn from it. We can adapt, evolve, and take steps to reset our thinking, adapt our strategies, and restore your trust in us to better meet your needs, now and in the future. That change begins today. Today we break with convention and introduce a rebalanced line of Dello heavy-duty engine oils. We've reduced our product line from 4 categories to 2. Consolidated and simplified, this lineup removes complexity from the manufacturing processes, enhancing price stability and supply chain reliability, so you can trust you will have the premium products you need to keep your business always moving forward. Our break with convention optimizes the Dello lineup to allow you to provide your customers with the best synthetic blend and synthetic heavy-duty engine oils in the market, fully available at prices you can rely on. It's your assurance that you'll be well positioned to be their trusted source for proven engine protection that keeps equipment on the job, giving your customers even more reasons to choose Dello.
I'm assuming it is cheaper to fill a machine off of the grid than it is off of your diesel tank sitting in your yard or off of the pump at the gas station. Is that correct in that assumption?
Oh, much. Right. Depending on where you're located, the cost per hour is much less expensive. We actually have a cost calculator on our website where you can put the cost of diesel, the cost of your kilowatt an hour, cost of the machine after you speak to a dealership about what your machine price might be, and it'll calculate what your return on investment will be. It's usually around 1 year, and you're already on the positive.
And that's just in diesel savings, but you're also no longer doing oil changes. Your electric drive motors, so you're not doing final drive changes. You're also not dealing with all of the mechanical issues that you would traditionally deal with and maintenance that goes along with a diesel engine. Like, there's a fair amount of savings you're going to get right off the rip just because you've taken the diesel motor out of the unit.
Yeah. Our equipment, has, up to, it's almost 90% less moving parts.
Wow.
Right. And so less moving parts, less things to break. So those repair costs are going to be minimal. But on that note, we use a very modular design. So a torque wrench will do most of the work you need to do to repair anything on our machine. So we have a lot of modular design. This way parts can be repaired quickly. What it's all about is uptime. If a machine's sitting dead somewhere, it's not making money for you. So we want that machine up and running. So modular construction helps with that. But of course, reduction in moving parts, that's pretty important as well.
Yeah. Well, my final question for you is, since I've looked into doing solar on the house, I know there's all these tax incentives out there. Do you get any sort of tax incentives or tax breaks for electric equipment? Do you know?
Yeah, and we're happy to talk about tax incentives. It can definitely help with the price of the machine. We actually have a team that will help our dealerships and the end customers identify and use appropriately the tax incentives. There's a lot of them out there. The Clean Heavy Duty Vehicle Program is one. DERA, which stands for Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, another. Those are federal, and then there's even state by state. NJ-ZIP, which is New Jersey Zero Emissions Incentive Program, or California CORE. Nearly every state is coming up with incentives through the EPA. We'll help people identify them and to be able to use them. And those are for all our machines, all except for our little Mini, which is fits through a standard doorway. So it's a small machine, lifts about 900 pounds. But I'd like to mention, if I can, our machines come with a remote control. And we found that the precision of the remote control has come such a long way. You can use this thing so well with our large skid steers that we're releasing our cabinless skid steer at the end of Q1. It looks so cool, besides the fact that it works really well. If you step out of the machine and you can run an auger and not have to have a spotter, or you can creep up next to a building or a house as close as you need to, or dump gravel exactly where you want to, all by standing outside the machine. It's a very useful thing. So it's come so far that we decided that we might not need a cabin. And we've tried that, and that's our next release. So we're going cabinless.
Where my mind goes immediately with that is demo contractors, some of these underground mining contractors. There's a lot of spots. I tell you, one of the biggest spots I can immediately see use for it is a lot of these quarries and pits where they're doing the clean out underneath the conveyors. Traditionally, that has been, you take a Sawzall to your ROPS so that you can get under that stuff. And now you guys have a perfectly viable product that's cheaper to run than what they're currently using.
Yeah, safety, right? A lot of safety features there. We'll still be a little bit line of sight at first, but then we'll be the teleoperation here by the end of the year. So you can even be a little further away inside a building in a different country, wherever you want to be, running the skid steer with sensors and everything else. So we're excited about our equipment. Our new U.S. division here has been open about 2 years. So it's understandable that not everybody knows about us yet, but I'm so happy that you invited us on to speak about FIRSTGREEN. So thank you for that, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fascinating. It's really interesting to see how this particular part of the industry is developing, and it's exciting to see where the technology is going to lead us. So thanks for being on, and it's been great.
Yeah, I think the next 5 years are going to be very fascinating, where we're going to be all around the entire industry. This is one of the industries I think can actually get the most out of electric. Surprisingly, it's also one of the ones that's the hardest to break into. There's still a place for diesel. A strong place for diesel, and there's opening a place now for electric, and that's where we fit. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, Marcus, thank you again for the time. We appreciate it. Well, thank you again for Marcus coming on the show to kind of break down how this machine is different from some of the other electric options and why it's a little more viable than some of the ones we've seen in the past. This technology is coming at us quick, and I think we're going to cross the threshold relatively quickly on these machines not being some unicorn pie in the sky idea, but an actual useful product that we can put to work on our job sites today. The day is coming closer and closer, and FIRSTGREEN is proving that with their technology. So as always, I hope this helps you in your business. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Dirt.